engines you should use and what you should put in your fuel and all that horse malarkey. I like that. I'm trying not to curse as much.
And it's original. You don't hear nobody say malarkey.
Horse malarkey. I'm going to steal Peter Miller's thing. I'm going to say pickles sometimes instead of cursing.
Does he say pickles?
Yeah, he says pickles. Dude, we're out there, right? We're out there, we're fishing. And, you're doing these shows with these guys, it's not all peachy and keen. Sometimes, things get hard. It's not easy to catch fish when you got the camera guys and the boats following you and everything. So, it gets a little stressful. And we got all these lines out and these fish are all into the boat. And Peter friggin' grits his teeth and he goes, "Oh, pickles." And I'm like, I look at the guy, I'm like, "Pickles? Really? Like, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Dude," he goes, I got a 10-year-old daughter right now, and I try hard not to curse around the house, so I say pickles. So I prepped that one from him.
Well, you know what though? But that's not too different though from Run That Dog. When people first started hearing it, they all kind of looked like, "What?" You know?
Well, Run That Dog is a heck of a lot more funner to say than pickles or
It
horse
is.
mouth. Well, horse mouth is kind of fun to say.
Yeah.
It's not quite as fun as Run That Dog. Pickles is fun to say because of the way it originated and how I started using it. But anyway, I'm trying real hard not to curse so much, especially on the podcast and stuff.
Yes.
Now this week, Stephen, matter of fact, the day after tomorrow, I'm going to go do a podcast with Tom Rowland.
For those of you that don't know Tom Rowland, so he was on Saltwater Experience and Into the Blue.
Right.
Big time name.
Right. Well, he was on Saltwater Experience. He's actually a character in that fishing show. And then he produced and owned an offshore fishing show called what is it? So you got Saltwater Experience and Into the Blue. And Into the Blue, they had these offshore guys that were really into catching, that kind of stuff. Both of them were fantastic shows. And anyway, I'm going to do a podcast with him the day after tomorrow. And I don't know. I got mixed emotions. Like I've always helped as many guys. I've always helped anybody that's ever asked for help to make content to sell ads, like Peter and George and now Tom, Bill Dance, the Flats Mafia guys. It's not like I'm against that. You know what I mean? And I understand what they're trying to do, and if I can help them accomplish that, it helps me, it helps them, and I'm flattered that they, want to do podcasts with me, want to do fishing episodes with me. But I just hope that, a podcast is a little bit different. I just hope that when we sit down with Tom and we start to do the podcast, that he's going to be okay with what comes out of my mouth. Because most of the guys that he sits down with, come from the same mindset. They come from the same
background and...
Well, their goal is the same.
Yeah.
They want to make content so their sponsors are happy and that they can,
sell ad space.
Sell ads. I mean, they got money, time invested in it. I get it. But during the podcast with Tom, if he asks me some things, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And
I just wonder if he's going to be ready for you. That's what I'm wondering.
I think he'll be fine. I've been listening to the different podcasts that he's been doing and stuff. I think he's going to be just fine. He does a good job.
Yeah.
That's not, there's no doubt about that. It's just that, we just don't give a horse malarkey about...
It's like we have a filter. We have a filter when it comes to like curse words and stuff like that, but then we don't have a filter when it comes to other things.
Well, we don't. I'm not going to hide stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what's on my mind to make sure that his sponsors are okay with it or the people that he may be trying to appeal are okay with it. I just hope that he realizes that when he asks me these questions...
he may get an answer that he's not used to hearing.
Right. It's coming from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Plus, I have this disdain. I have this disdain towards the media companies that are constantly looking for content that pleases their sponsors but doesn't necessarily please their audience. It totally kills me. I've had major experience in this. In the 80s, right, my dad was into building custom fishing boats, high-end custom fishing boats. He'd build some big ones that would take him a year or two to build. He'd build some small ones that take him like a month to build. But every single one of these fishing boats were super high-end, custom fishing boats for people that were really into, traveling in the ocean and doing offshore fishing. Now he's a small company, you know what I mean? And at the beginning in the 80s, the magazines like Saltwater Sportsman and Florida Sportsman and Southern Boating and all the different magazines that were writing about fishing and fishing boats at that time would feature boat builders like my father.
Yeah.
Because those are the guys that were building the real deals. Then you noticed that the magazine's journalism changed, and it changed drastically. It went from writing articles for the audience that were reading the articles to now writing articles to the sponsors that were advertising in the publications. So at first, they tried to be slick about it, and you'd read the article and you'd be like, it's funny, they're doing an article about Carolina Skiff, and they got 2 full-page ads in here. Oh, they're also talking about, Stren monofilming. And Stren just happens to have a full-page ad in here. And then they went so far as to make these articles and stuff on the same page as the ad. But they wouldn't do articles on the small boat companies anymore. And the reason they wouldn't do them on the small boat companies anymore, because the small boat companies weren't the ones that could afford to pay, this big advertising budgets, to have a full-page ad in a publication like Saltwater Sportsman. So, people look at the news nowadays, and there's all this thing about fake media, blah, blah, but this is nothing new, dudes.
It's been going on for years.
It's been going on for years. And because of the internet, because of social media, we can call them out. But don't think for a second that they're not right here on social media with us on all the different platforms.
They're seeing everything that we're putting out.
Hashtag Bass Pro Shops. You know what I mean?
Hashtag dicks.
Well, hashtag, whatever you want to do. But I'm just saying that, they're into producing the content with one thing in mind, and that's to please the advertisers and to